right, today's today's animated book review is The Art of the Lion King. This book I bought probably the same year that the movie came out. This is before I got into the animation industry as an animator. I was just a fan. I was just in awe of this movie. I love this huge book format series that they developed. The books are really gloriously printed. They're really amazing to hold in your hands. They're quite heavy. There's a lot of really great artwork in here. And again, because this film is 2D, there's a lot more emphasis on 2D concept work, rough designs, as well as full production stills. Again, looking at the storyboards, it's really great. This helped me learn a lot about people who were really at the top level at Disney that were storyboard artists and animators as well, and some people whose careers has continued and how they've gone into other companies or gone from 2D to 3D. These are amazing. Again, I love looking at the cleanup as well as the rough animation here. Background paintings are fantastic. And here, this is master animator Andreas Deya as they're thumbnailing through a shot that they're going to animate of Scar. And again, when I was reading this book at the time, I hadn't even thought about going into animation as a career, but I was just such a fan of the movie. This just blew me away. I just couldn't believe the artwork, right? I mean, look at this. This is Chris Sanders. Fantastic work. Just the color styling, some of the sequences, really amazing. The book is just glorious. It's just so much fun to look at and enjoy. There's just so much in here. So we'll fold out. That shows a really beautiful concept for that musical sequence. Again, all pastels. Back when they did things mostly traditional, not completely. Again, another great animal drawing by Chris Sanders there. Some more great storyboards. Just phenomenal work. Background paintings. And again, looking at the layout drawing, how much work is put into that layout, which then goes on to the background design department for final rendering as a painted background. These were really incredible. As a student to see this, just understanding how much emphasis was placed on shot design using just values, just being able to start thinking about lighting that early and how that was going to influence the tone of the film. Yeah, these storyboards, wow, some of these are just so amazing. It's incredible. And again, whether they're working with pencil or markers and gouache and other kinds of color tools, or they're just strictly black and white. Even here, this gorgeous layout here. I mean, this is just fantastic. The details on there is just what an epic drawing. It's so inspiring. When I went back to school, this book was in the library. And again, it was one of the most popular. It was always in our classroom, and people were always thumbing through this book, looking for inspiration, studying things like cleanup. Right, here's a nice cleaned up drawing of Scar, and looking at how the whole pipeline process is presented here. And again, some gorgeous cleanup work in the book too. I love these books because they showed such a nice slice of the production. Everything from finished sequence drawings, from rough layout, background paintings, and particularly the storyboards. It was really great when they had a bunch of these, and some again really gorgeous key drawings. You can see there's even a timing chart there in the corner. More amazing layout design. God, these are just fantastic, just incredible, amazing artwork. You can see why this film really stood out. Some phenomenal background work. Again, another big display. I mean, just look at that beautiful background. Wow. Just masterpiece after masterpiece. So this book has definitely been perused through quite heavily when I was a student, and still, I still love taking this off the shelf and showing it to my kid and anybody who's interested in animation if they want to learn a little bit more. It's a really great tool just to sort of illustrate how many different kind of parts of the pipeline there are. Everybody just knows the finished image, but this sequence here, yeah, this is Chris Sanders, and I think if I'm incorrect, apologize, but I think Chris Sanders went on to direct at DreamWorks. I think he directed the first How to Train Your Dragon film. I think he also directed Lilo and Stitch as well. And this amazing pastel sequence here, all done as storyboards here for that really epic sequence when we see the father come back to talk to his son. Just incredible. And again, I love seeing how the storyboards, how rough and loose they are in some cases, and sometimes how much they're labored, but how good they communicate, how really, really amazing they are. And again, the background designs, you know, it's just, wow, just so impressive to see these beautiful paintings. I wish this was something that they had a little more of on Disney Plus. It would be great to have that kind of a resource available for students and educators to be able to see some of the content that went into making these films. Just amazing. Again, look at that. Really epic, glorious painting. I would love that as a t-shirt. So cool. Great boards. Yeah, again, these are really great. I love the loose thumbnails here when Rafiki is jumping around fighting the hyenas, and he does this sort of Bruce Lee style martial arts takedown. Again, the thumbnail's just so clear, right? Such great keys, really, really awesome. Thumbnailed out very, very precisely. Works so well. Again, these storyboards, look at how epic those are. Again, this is like unbelievable just how incredibly detailed and rendered this background is. It's frameable artwork. And then this is always really great too. This caricature here is of Brenda Chapman, and she worked at Disney for a long time, but she also was the creator of the Pixar film Brave. She created the story, and she was actually removed from it as a director due to some internal politics, which she can't really go into a lot of detail about, unfortunately. But I remember after the talk when she came to Spark to give a presentation, a masterclass about storytelling, I mentioned the caricature to her, and she remembered that it was in the book and who had done it. And just she had this reputation of being a really good defender of her storyboard sequences. The caricatures in this are amazing, and she said it was just such a fun environment, although they were just working hard. It was a great way to blow off steam, and everybody enjoyed getting the caricatures in there. And the nice thing too is there's a lot of text as well, which is good. It's tough to strike that balance between visuals and text. I know not everybody wants to read a book when it's all visuals, but it is really wonderful to hear artists explain a little bit of the thought process, so that in addition to staring at the drawings, you kind of get to hear them tell you how they thought about it. What was their goal? What kind of design objectives they were trying to achieve? What was challenging? What sequences were the most difficult? And then get a little bit of a window into sort of, you know, how they were structuring their work and how they approached it. Again, these amazing studies. Gosh, it's fantastic. And then here, I think they're looking at, again, sort of how they were working with backgrounds and integrating them into separate levels, right? So you can see, you know, there's the sky, then there's the grassland, and then this layer is composited here, and then the tree in the foreground, and then everything together gets the composite image. I think at this stage, they might have been experimenting a little bit with digital ink and paint, but still working with a lot of analog processes to kind of get the work into the computer. They must have had the CAP system by now, but I think for a lot of the backgrounds, they were still doing, you know, high-res scans and then compositing them in, whether it was all done in camera or was done afterwards digitally, I'm not sure. And even in this era, there was still that amazing sequence they did with the wildebeest where everything was 3D, but it was toon shaded so that the wildebeest looked like they were hand drawn. And they don't go into a lot of detail on this, but if you get a chance, if you can find sort of an older DVD of the original Lion King, I remember they did have in the documentary a little sequence about how they made the digital wildebeest and was able to integrate them into the herd that's in the film. Yeah, there we go. You can see there's the CAP system, where they're able to sort of, you know, have a color model sheet and be able to break down the drawing and make sure that the right colors are applied frame to frame in each of the individual scanned drawings. There we go. Again, a beautiful book by Hyperion. I really miss these huge epic books. They're really quite a showpiece. Definitely an item to show off on the coffee table and on the bookshelf. This one I think came out, was it 1992 or 1993? So we can get the publisher's date. big preamble. There we go, Hyperion. 1994. So this is well before I started working in animation. I didn't start working in animation until 2003. This is almost 9 years after, but I picked up this book right away just because I was such a huge fan of the film, and the artwork just blew me away. So again, love this book. Can't recommend it enough. It's definitely worth the money if you can pick it up somewhere at a reasonable price. All right, that's it.